Hey, coming up on today's podcast, we've got some Cybertruck news. It's here, guys. It's really here. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about Ken Block will never, ever be out of our memory banks at all. And we've got one thing to share with you that's upcoming about Ken. Also, Amazon is getting into the automobile sales, and Ford has just recently took another leap over another auto manufacturer once again. All of that coming up on today's podcast and much, much more right after this. Hey, everybody. Welcome into the podcast, and we are excited to have you on board today. I can't see you, Keith.
Do you ever think it's just maybe because I don't want to be seen?
Could be, man.
Man, I wish they would, let me kill the music. Fix that little delay where I drag the music down and then it's like 5 Mississippi.
Yeah, because I couldn't see. I think I came in kind of like just habitually into the right spot.
Fix that in post. But
anyway.
You know what's going to happen is they're going to fix it, but now I'm going to start adding that extra 5 seconds, and then they will have fixed it, and then I'll bring you in 5 seconds early,
right?
And you'll be like picking your nose or something, and it'll be awesome.
You mean like this?
Yeah. So, yeah. What's up?
So, hey, everybody, say hi to Keith. Keith. What's going on? My one and only podcasting partner over there. Welcome in. Happy December to you, sir.
Yeah, and to you, and to all of you. And for those of you that are new to the podcast, the Counter Show, Jay likes to describe this as conversations at a parts counter, like in the old days, which is pretty succinct. I could go on. It's probably not going to get any better. We start there, and then, even though you may not be able to buy e-bikes at a parts counter, you can talk about them. So we talk about stuff with wheels. We talk about stuff with one wheel. Sometimes we talk about stuff with no wheels. Sometimes we talk about what's on the radio when you're driving down the road.
Sometime we talk about what's on the roof of what you're driving.
Yeah, so you get the idea, right? And then we've got all of our socials, including our YouTube channel, and you can find links to all those over on our website, partscounterguru.com. And so, yeah, that's how we roll.
It is. That's good elevator pitch there, sir.
You see what I did there?
I do see what you did right there, guys. Wow, this will be our last episode before 2024. This will be the last one of 2023. I think this could very well be episode like 160 something. I mean, that's a pretty big deal for us.
Yeah.
We are growing, continuing to grow. Been fun. Growing to the point to where, man, we've really got to step back and go, okay, how do we make this to be, how do we create a better experience for our audience? First of all, you guys got to get to know us, right? And that's what Keith and I are trying to do for you guys, is to help you get to know us. And so hopefully after today, you'll get to know us. You'll know us even better. I think you will, actually. So, so we just got back from the wonderful world of SEMA, wrapping up all of our trade shows. And a lot has happened since then, Keith, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of like an understatement.
Yeah.
Both personally and professionally for both of us.
Yeah.
Been a very trying last quarter of the year for us, I think. But we're getting through it.
Yeah, so, just seems like there's more going on this time this year than there was going on at the same time last year and the year before that, and maybe even the year before that. I don't know. Just feels that way.
Not a bad problem to have, Keith.
Yeah.
Not a bad problem to have. But it will translate into some cool things happening in 2024 for not just the parts counter gurus, but for the automotive industry, the overlanding industry, the EV industry, period. So much going on. Oh, which, by the way, you talked about, you may not be able to buy a e-bike at an automotive parts counter, but if you think about it, back in the old days, Western Auto, you could buy anything.
Well,
You could buy tires, bikes, whatever.
That was more of a kind of a variety store than a traditional hardware store.
Truth. I mean, they put tires on. They did oil changes.
You could buy appliances.
Yeah, you could buy appliances while getting tires at the same time.
And two things I've got to mention as we get rolling here. Number one, as this is our annual holiday gift idea episodes where we give you ideas for things to buy for the enthusiast in your life, right? So it's basically what stuff we would want, like if you were buying for, I'm not saying that you would buy for us, but if there's people that listen to the show, these are probably good gift suggestions. So that's coming up.
Some cool stuff, man.
Yes, and the other thing is I have a gift suggestion from me to all of you. Okay, it'll make sense. Just stick around. It'll make sense.
Absolutely, and there just might be an opportunity to grab something for yourself if you listen to this show carefully.
Oh, I see where you're going with that. Yeah, you mean like a
maybe
gift,
a gift or something like that.
Yeah, a prize,
something really cool.
Yeah. Okay.
And we'll stay tuned and we'll tell you how you can do that. Thanks for bringing the gifts up. I may have inadvertently forgot that in the intro.
Well, it'll be in the title, so it's kind of like if you don't know it's coming.
Yeah, it's coming.
It's coming.
And did you already say this, that we will have links to every single
Hey everybody, there's going to be links to everything that we talk about over on our website at partscounterguru.com. They're at the top. It's like all of our social stuff. And then as far as the products that we mention, we have a mentioned on the podcast page, and we will match the name, like whatever we end up calling this episode, which is probably going to be like Gift Ideas 23 or Christmas Gift, I don't know, whatever. Anyway,
yeah,
we have a mentioned on the podcast page. There's a tab at the top. We put links to all the stuff that we call out. So if you're driving, if you're running, walking the dog, whatever, and you don't have something to write on and you want to remember the stuff that we talked about, that's easy. We've done the work for you. Just go to our website, click on the mentioned on the podcast tab, and it'll be there. I mean,
Absolutely.
Magically, it'll be there by the time this comes out.
Absolutely, it will be. It will be. Let's talk about an old favorite, man. You're the one that got me turned on to this guy, and unfortunately, for me, I got turned on to him late in his career. But he is definitely missed in the industry. I'll let Keith take this away, but we haven't seen the last of him.
Yeah, so the good news for you and anybody else that doesn't know about Ken Block is most of, not all of it's still out there on the internet. There's YouTube videos. Amazon Prime had a Gymkhana Files docuseries. It was pretty good. But Ken Block, in a lot of ways, kind of married car fans and extreme sports, and did it in a way that brought it into a modern YouTube era where everybody was consuming this video content, and it was the perfect fit. Mm-hmm. And so Hoonigan is his brand. I guess I've heard Ken referred to as the head Hoonigan in charge. But right. Hoonigan is if you've heard that term, those are his people. They hoon, basically. That's their creative driving style, right? So, was it last year that we met him, and then they had the video where he drifted Vegas, and that was playing up on the jumbo screens?
He was in Vegas like maybe a week and a half to 2 weeks prior to the SEMA show last year.
Okay.
So in October of 2022 is when that particular video was shot, and then a few weeks later we show up at SEMA to cover the show, and we had the pleasure of meeting him, which was what a treat.
Right, and he was super gracious and really good guy. So then ironically, tragically, like to the day, I think a month later he died.
Yeah, early January of 2023.
It was out in like Utah, snow, just snowmobiles, having fun, doing what he does. So if you haven't checked him out and you don't know who he is, go look up some Ken Block Hoonigan videos. You'll be amazed. And so it turns out that there was one last video in the Gymkhana series that was recorded that is coming out that features Ken doing the work, doing the drifting. In
the all-electric Hoonatron.
In the same one that the Audi that he used that was custom built that he drifted in Las Vegas. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
And that's going to be out soon. So depending on when you're listening to this, it may already be out. And when it comes out, we'll update our mention on the podcast page and link to it there, as well as all the other products that we're going to talk about. So
I saw the teaser.
Oh man.
Gee, man.
Well, here's what we know.
If you thought the Vegas video was hot, wait till you see this.
It's filmed in Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
Looks like it's in a major city, so not like the countryside or the coast in Mexico, like a major city like Mexico City, maybe something like that. Lots of like urban, like there's a sports arena that he drifts in and out of, that sort of stuff. So it's city drifting. I don't know, man. I think it'll be a great revisitation of all those things, right? And so. Yeah, I can't wait to see it when it comes out.
Yeah, I'm with you on that, man. It's going to be fun to watch. Like I said, I saw the little portion of the trailer, the little teaser, if you will, and I'm pretty excited to watch it. Now, let's talk about what they were doing. His daughter was there at SEMA this year, and they had a huge area in tribute to Ken. They had the Hoonicorn there, which you can go to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Parts County Gurus, and see a short that we put together for you guys. Keith really did a great job of describing what it is and what it meant to what he was doing. What the Hoonigans were up to.
And the Hoonicorn is his custom built Mustang.
That is correct.
Classic Mustang that they converted to just the insane beast.
Just ridiculous. That's the one he drove up Pikes Peak, right? Did he drive it up?
Yeah, yes, that's it.
That's what I thought.
That's the one.
So his daughter is also, she's basically following in her dad's footsteps, and they had a big reveal at SEMA with her car. She's done Pikes Peak now. She's got a lot of other things in the Pike, I think. So she will be carrying on the block name. What?
Oh, I was looking for the Hoonicorn video on our website, and
you found it?
Yeah, go ahead. Carry on. Sorry.
Anyway, so she's
you know how that thing happens when you click on the wrong thing. Yeah, go ahead.
She's carrying the tradition on, and that's something exciting to watch her. And I'm really excited for her, and so I'm gonna finish this up with saying something that I think is very fitting for this time of year. Something that Ken said: be creative, live a fun life, and don't be an asshole. Simply put, right?
Yeah.
I mean, those are great things to live by. Live life, man. Sometimes it can be gone very quickly. So, so Ken Block coming out. It's this month, December. So be on the lookout for that, guys. And again, it's about a couple of other things, so it's going to be more than just his last video, I'm sure. So
yeah, right. And man, I mean, it's good content. Go back and watch some of the entertaining things that they did, like just the sense of humor in those videos. Where it's great.
The sense of humor is very creative. All the guys are on board. They all made that show. I mean, obviously Ken was the focal point, but they made it happen. And just to see some of the stunts this guy pulled off, man, what a legend, what a pioneer in the industry. And he will be missed, but thank goodness we have videos to watch. So, and thank goodness to his daughter, she's carrying it on. So we are completely 100% behind you. So
we got a little bit of a Billy Joel-esque story and a story and a story about another story that all tie together.
They really do.
And I mean, you know, what's the first story on the most outside layer here? I mean, do you start at the Italian restaurant and then go to, you know, Brenda and Eddie? Where are we?
I would say, what has finally come to fruition, Keith? Right.
Right. So, mark this day on your calendar, everyone. If you didn't know already, the Cybertruck has finally started being delivered. People are getting deliveries now. Those deliveries have not ramped up to full speed, if you will. So it's going to be slow. Some people, the lucky few, have started to receive their Cybertrucks that they pre-ordered.
Yeah. I think that 10 of them were already delivered, and they said it was 10 high-profile customers that were going to be receiving them on November the 30th. So that has happened.
Right.
I'd like
that means not you and not me.
Not you and not me. If you're
Yeah.
way down on the list, and
Right.
if you want to buy one now and get a reservation out there, you got a long wait, because this conversation about the Cybertruck, the reveal was when he broke the window that couldn't be broken, was in 2019, right?
Yeah,
Right?
so it's been 4 years,
Yeah.
I think.
I think we were actually on air 1 year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know, so much to say about this. Man, I will try to time this and keep my comments appropriate to the subject matter, but you know, a lot of changes, some of them subtle changes that have happened since the initial unveiling, if you will, for those 4 years ago and now. In a lot of ways, this thing is not, it's iconic in the same way that the DeLorean, the DMC-12 was. And, you know, interestingly, I see that show up next to the Cybertruck and a lot of these people doing the reviews.
It's so funny you bring that up, because whenever I've been reading all the hype about it coming out just the last several weeks, right? I mean, when you look at it, to me, it reminds me so much of the DeLorean story without all the cocaine, right?
Right. I mean, well, yeah.
Well, as far as we know, right?
we know, right? But
right, yeah.
I mean, the whole thing started with apparently a conversation with his son, and it's like, you know, why are trucks still built the same way they were 40 years ago, and why can't we do something different?
Ask
and that
Ford.
got him thinking, and yeah.
Ask Ford.
And, you know, while there are things that are innovative and, you know, Musk has pushed the envelope on, change for the sake of change is not necessarily a good thing. Now, look, I'm not saying the Cybertruck is not a great truck. I just, in the same way that DeLorean was kind of, who's it for, right?
Right.
It was supposed to be a sports car. They advertised it as a sports car, but the engine in it was a dog, right? So who's going to buy it?
Peugeot,
Are you going to get somebody that would have bought a Corvette to maybe? I mean, so the same thing with the Cybertruck, right? Like, you know, I'm seeing and hearing reviewers say, well, it's really kind of more feels like an SUV. I would contend that the person that would go out and buy an F-150 or an F-150 Lightning or the electric Silverado or even maybe a Rivian R1T, that's not the same person that would buy a Cybertruck. I don't think they're the same.
I have to agree with you. And I think that you have to look at what Tesla is too, Keith, because that's the same way with Tesla owners. I mean, Tesla owners are different. Yeah. They're a different demographic. And it's not they appeal to a different demographic. But the thing that Elon has done over the course of the years with the brand, is making it more accessible to people and doing some innovative things. Obviously, we've talked ad nauseum about, you know, autopilot and those sorts of things that really have yet to be proven. But those are still innovative and cutting edge things, and it excites people. So that's the type of person that really goes for that Tesla brand. I think you have to step back and take a look at what the Cybertruck is and what it's built to do. It's not really a practical truck per se, in my opinion. I don't know if Keith agrees with me here on that.
That's the thing, right? Like, there's so many great things about it. They're doing their own batteries now. You know, they're trying to do like an Apple style of they make the whole widget, right?
Right.
And these batteries are the best. They're made by Tesla. They were developed by Tesla. They're the best batteries Tesla has used in any of their vehicles to date for a lot of reasons.
Right.
They're able to more reliably sustain the power load. They're bigger. They run cooler. I mean, they're just the batteries alone. We could just sit here and talk for 20 minutes. And there's lots of great innovative things like that. But I'm not going to take this thing overlanding. And a few of you might, but for a whole lot of reasons, man. It's stainless steel. It's harder to take care of. They're beautiful, but the maintenance on a stainless is different, right? It's different than a traditional painted automobile. Now, they do have a black version. If you don't want the
and we'll get into that. We'll get into that. We'll get into that a little bit. I've got a little teaser with that too.
Okay.
So we'll talk about that. And no, you're absolutely correct. It's not. That's the thing that people have to look at. You know, just don't come out of the chute screaming saying, it's not a pickup truck. Well, yeah, no, it's not an F-150. It's not a traditional Ram. It's not a traditional Chevy Silverado. It's not that. It's not what it is.
What you're trying to say, Jay, is it's not a truck.
That's right. Just as the Hummer EV is also not a
truck
per se practical truck. I mean, these things carry a lot of weight with them. The Cybertruck, and okay, let me back up a little bit. Who is he trying to compete with? And it's not necessarily who he's trying to compete with. It's what he has basically put him in the position to compete with, which is the GMC Hummer, right?
Yeah, and I would say if you're considering either of those two, you know, the Cybertruck does have a lot of positives in its category that could persuade you. But who's buying it? I mean, how many of those is GM going to sell?
Right. I mean, the hype on that was pretty interesting too. And of course, the sticker shock was just unbelievable. Now let's talk about that, right? So what has changed since we started talking about the Cybertruck? Price is the number one thing.
We've got inflation being a big factor, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
We were saying back then, though, that I don't think he can sell one for that cheap. And sure enough, it's not the $39,000. You know, the low end model is not the $39,000 vehicle that they said they were going to be able to offer. That one is now coming in about $20,000, $21,000 more. Yeah, maybe. And then of course you get into the tri-motor version, which is up over $100,000.
Now look, if you're a collector, the motors are great. You know, it's an investment. It's less of an issue, but this is not. See, again, that's a third or fourth vehicle,
right?
The list of people that are going to buy one of those and make it their daily driver is shrinking,
right?
And nothing wrong with the truck. Like, it's cool, but you have to understand, like, this Elon Musk has got to keep his shareholders happy. He's got to sell vehicles. Mm-hmm. And if they're not going to sell enough of these, then, they built a whole factory to produce this. Like, that's an issue.
That's right.
They are upside down on development costs.
They are. Now, how do you make that attractive to a buyer, right? And that's what I was going to say. You said you've already seen one that's black. Well, this is a stainless steel body. There's no paint on them. So now they are offering a few wrap, and it's Tesla, PPG, Tesla driven wraps to make it matte finish black. And then there's, I think, a white version now as well that I read about. And they're just wraps, guys. But interestingly enough, I have to say this, and we say this, people follow others, right? when you're not the leader, you got to follow to gain the traction. And this is exactly what Tesla has done here. They realized they needed to make it more appealing to maybe another demographic, right? Not just the one that wants the old time machine looking vehicle, right?
Yeah.
Ford just recently offered the same thing. They're offering factory wraps for their F-150s. And we shot a video on that. Go over to youtube.com/Parts County Gurus, or if you're on our website, you can follow the icon.
3 vehicles, I think.
3 vehicles.
Bronco, Mustang,
yes.
and...
I forget what else, man. F-150.
Okay.
The F-150. I think that's part of it, yeah. So, but right now, from what my understanding, it's just a few colors that will be available. But, to make it even more appealing to people, they're offering a tent specifically for it. They've got a few other add-ons, and it will grow. It will grow.
I mean, I'd tell you how they could dominate if they wanted to literally just dominate the wrap industry.
Mm-hmm.
You go scratch and sniff.
There you go, man.
But then you got people coming up scratching on your car, so but how cool would that be? Like,
hey, that don't smell
Skittles,
like Coke, man.
Right,
Doesn't smell like Coke. Well, the ultimate test would be to see if our guys over at Ruined EV could get their hands on one of these and do something with it, man.
Yeah,
that would be.
Yeah,
that would be fun to watch. And I'm sure they would do it justice. But so, where does it go from here, Keith? I mean, now that it's revealed and they've supposedly delivered 10 of these, November 30, and how will they sell them? Who gets them? How do you go get them? How do you, how's this going to work for everybody?
Yeah, so obviously Tesla being fans of the direct-to-consumer model, not that they haven't stepped into the pool of dealerships, but even their dealerships are a different experience than the traditional dealerships.
Right.
It's all gonna come down to how quickly they can produce these things, right?
That's right.
And how many people really want to buy them that are willing to spend that.
Yeah.
You pointed out that Ford's doing quite well on the EV sales, right?
They're up. Contrary to some of the reports coming out about overall EVs, Ford has just recently taken the lead in sales this quarter. They've actually exceeded. They're 113% up on sales for this quarter so far. I think it was, and they surpassed Rivian. I was really surprised with that. So Ford once again becomes the leader in the pickup market, and we've had this very conversation. Why is what they have so appealing? Well, it looks like a pickup truck. It doesn't look abnormal.
Yeah,
it's purpose built. You can still load tools in it.
It's a little bit more utilitarian,
absolutely,
than a Hummer EV or a Cybertruck or
practical.
The Rivian is a competitor. But I almost see the Rivian. They're different price points, but the size of the footprint of the R1T is smaller.
Right.
So if you want a full-size truck, it's really the F-150 Lightning.
That's it. It is. And the F-150 Lightning is loaded, by the way. It is truly a classy vehicle. And some of the packages of what it allows you to do, it already allows you to do what Elon is pounding his chest about that the Cybertruck can do.
Right.
So Ford's already doing it. And it's more practical. Again, if I'm an owner of one, and I have a construction company, the ease of getting tools in and out of the bed or whatever in and out of the bed, it's practical. The Cybertruck just isn't, and it has a true 6-foot bed that has no obstructions to put a bike in, motorcycle, ATV, whatever. But again, let's wait and see how that Tesla evolves, and it will. This time next year, we'll probably be talking about so many new different things with it, or the fact that they are not producing anymore because it was too costly to produce.
Yeah, and who's the last man standing, right? Like, how long is that Hummer EV going to be around?
Right. True, man. I mean, it's funny you say that because sales on that are like bleh. And I think GM is holding back on their Silverado EV and their
it's a 100,000 plus SUV, e-SUV.
Right.
It's cool. We've seen it. It's cool. Mm-hmm. But, then you have this whole whole strike thing, right? Being problematic and delaying things in production and all that. I mean, it's kind of a hot mess.
It hit Ford. They've scaled back on their production. I think there was somewhere around $12 billion in production dollars that they have kind of put a hold on to kind of wrap their. And there's a reason for that, guys. Okay, so speaking of that, EVs are sitting on dealership lots, and in some cases, dealerships don't want to even sell the EVs. That's not their cup of tea. There's some barriers being placed up between the dealer and the consumer, and if they don't want to sell them, then don't sell them. I mean, that's up to them. But be careful. Here's why. And I think the future for the sale of a vehicle is going to look extremely different within the next 2 years. I know for certain that this year we're going to see something different, and it was announced recently. Okay, so dealerships out there, traditional dealerships, you need to pay attention to this. If you don't want to sell EVs, somebody will, right? And so Tesla kind of set the bar for that direct-to-consumer sale, and of course some states allow it to happen. There are certain states that do not allow it. This is the government getting into the sale of the automobile. I don't know if you guys realize this or not, but they completely control it. This is all, you have to go to a dealership to buy a vehicle. That's the way it works, right? But some dealerships do not want to sell electric vehicles. So Amazon's paying attention.
Yeah.
Right?
And, I think it goes beyond just EVs, but please carry on. What exactly is Amazon paying attention to, Jay?
Amazon is paying attention to how people purchase things, and they are paying attention to what people want, how they want to go about that transaction. And so whether you like it or not, folks, Hyundai is the first automobile manufacturer to allow Amazon to sell their vehicles online.
Now, wait a second.
Mm-hmm.
Now, does this mean that I can just go on like Amazon.com or on the app and buy a Hyundai?
You have to go. It's going to be a different. It's like their auto mall, if you will, right? So you'll still have to deal with a dealership to pick the vehicle up.
But like Whole Foods, like you can sideload Whole Foods from Amazon and do a grocery delivery.
Yes.
So now, will I have all the benefits of, like I usually have come to experience from Amazon? For example, they'll deliver it later than they said, and they'll deliver it to my neighbor's house instead of my house.
Will there be free delivery?
Right.
Is the
There'll
destination?
Be a picture of it getting. It'll be like a picture of my car as proof of delivery, but it's parked in front of some stranger's house, and I'm like, I don't live there. I don't know.
Right. Well, will your Prime membership exclude you from destination fees?
So So Hyundai being the first,
right,
and
many more coming behind them. In 24.
And I don't think this is going to stop with EVs. And so if anybody could pull this off, it's Amazon, because Amazon's got the pockets.
That's right.
Where some of the smaller players, even a Tesla and a Rivian, can't afford the legal battles with the government regulations that require dealerships. But I got to tell you, like, I spent some time thinking about this, and timely as it was, I got a phone call yesterday. People are just done with the dealership experience.
They are.
And I think there's a lot of factors behind that. Number one is it's a huge time suck. It's days of back and forth. And if we're being honest, most of these salespeople are people that are gone in 6 weeks and have a hard time holding down a job. And it's not a fun job.
Can be very aggressive to you, too, in some cases.
Not all of them.
but
we have some friends
be.
in the industry that are good at it,
and they're good at what they do. And there are some great dealerships out there. So
sure,
we are not at all sitting here saying that dealerships are bad overall, because they're not.
But I think the experience is the negative experience is becoming commonplace for a lot of people.
Right. And
they just don't want to deal with the whole kind of scummy, kind of like the whole. I mean, we used to joke about used car salesmen, but it's the brand, the sort of official authorized factory. Yeah, that's gone. Like, let me give you a perfect example. I said I got a phone call yesterday, right? So I live in Tennessee. The local Franklin Toyota dealership calls me. I have a 2014 FJ Cruiser Ultimate Edition. It's a limited production run, highly sought after, great. Last year they made the the Cruisers, okay. And there was a factory recall. It involved the fuel pump. And I let the local dealership do it because it had to be performed by a Toyota dealership. And it was kind of one of those things where I knew they wouldn't put the new guy on it. It was a big job. So you're probably going to get the experienced tech. Once I did that, they had me in their system. So I get this phone call yesterday, right? This is not making any of this up. This is how it went. Hey, Mr. Keith, we see here your FJ is due for maintenance. What day can you come in next week? What?
Right.
You're never, and I think I actually told her, like, first of all, what are you trying, like, so there's this assumption of, it was just assume that, like, I'm supposed to bring it back. And how do you guys know? How do you guys know it's due for maintenance? How do you know how much I've driven it?
Right.
How do you know when and where I've had it serviced? It's a 2014 model. I know you don't track it. It doesn't have all that tech in it. It'll call the dealership.
Right.
How do you know?
They don't. It's a scam.
That's it. It's a scam.
And see, that's the thing about it. This is what gives the automotive industry, the auto sales side of the industry, a bad rap, is because of some of these tactics. But, look, it's not just the automotive industry scamming people. The period. Like, for example, we just had Black Friday, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there's a ton of TikTok videos out there where people are physically in brand stores and seeing the sign that says Black Friday sale only, and then someone didn't remove the original sign, which it was the same price a week ago. So you're not getting a deal.
Okay, yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so
I think that's what people are done with, right?
We're tired of it. We're absolutely tired of it.
There's and any car dealership will tell you that there are so many points in a car sale deal to basically get one over on the consumer. People are they're getting wise to it and they're done with it. And they're like, well, if I don't have to deal with any of that, and I know what my price is going to be, and I don't have to set foot in your vehicle, and it's not going to take me 2 days of haggling. Yeah, okay. I can see where that would be appealing, right?
Right. Absolutely. And again, like I said, when we started this conversation about this particular segment of the industry is, automobile sales, Tesla has done a really good job to prove that their model works quite well. People are content with that.
Well, and their service model is what you're talking about, and how and look, if you're buying a Hyundai, obviously they've got their authorized service centers that you can go to in person on the service side, and there's Rivian's still trying to work out some of those details, but there's a Rivian dealership right down the road from me.
Right.
So it's not completely out of the question. I think it's going to change whether you like it or not. And dealerships, it's your fault. Right. It is. You guys have made some bad choices, and people are done with you.
You're missing the boat, and you could actually expand what you're doing from a service standpoint. How do you? You still have brakes that have to be changed out. You still have maintenance, maintenance intervals of certain working components on an electric vehicle that needs to be attended to and maintained and looked at and inspected to see if there's anything wearing. There's still moving parts on these things. And so, yes, if you exclude yourself from selling EVs, then you also exclude yourself from servicing them. And I think that dealerships are going to look differently if you agree to sell those things, because you're still going to have to maintain a internal combustion engine propulsion system, but you're also going to still have to, you can still service. So Do you have two separate dealerships? I don't think so. I think what you do is you work with what you have and you expand on what you have, and you have two separate departments, your EV department.
Yeah, I mean, they already have specializations in these places now. You have your heavy duty side. If it's Ford dealer, they've got truck specialists, they've got electrical specialists, they've got diesel mechanics. I mean, there's different certifications for different jobs. You don't put the same guy. The guy doing the oil changes in the 20-minute oil change line is, trust me, that is not the same guy doing your power stroke maintenance on the diesel engines, right?
Exactly.
It's not the
same.
If you come in with so I have a friend of mine that is driving a Honda, and this is going to tie into something on the gift wish list, but she, God bless him for trying, man. They had a check engine light come on. It's a new Honda, okay? And so I understand the logic behind what they did. It's sound logic. It's just not, there it is. So they unhooked the battery for 24 hours. Just to try to reset the check engine code, because they wanted to see if it would, they took it to one of the local automotive code reader shops, right?
Yeah, man, all you gotta do is unplug that battery, man. That'll reset. You'll be good to go.
So, and they found out it was a knock sensor, and sound logic, it could have been bad gas, it could have been they didn't tighten the gas cap. There's 100 things it could be, and many of those are not actual. They necessarily would need repair. Well, when they hooked the battery back up, there's a lockout. There's basically an anti-theft system in this car, and nothing works in the car now.
Oh,
she's
man.
I'm driving it to work. The radio doesn't work. And there's a code, and so she calls Honda, and Honda's it should be in your, you bought it new. It should be in the manual or glove box, and they're we're not finding it. So they got to get the VIN, go to the dealer, deal with all that. They got to reset it, put the code in. And I told her tomorrow. I'll bring the code reader by. We'll check it. If you want me to, I'll reset the code for you. But
it's just people, man, I'm telling you, these cars today, these modern vehicles are so sophisticated. I mean, there's a lot of things you really need to be wary of, and that's so funny. That's so funny, man.
So the guy doing that stuff at the Honda dealer, though, I'm pretty sure is not the same guy that's doing engine rebuilds, or he's probably an electrical guy or lady, whatever.
Absolutely. I mean, your technician, your modern technician, and your technician in 5 years, even from 5 years from now, is going to look completely different. And when I say look completely different, they're going to have a totally different set of skills than what your average technician has today. And not saying that the technician of today is going to be obsolete, because that's just not the case, because those systems managements are still going to, they'll improve upon, but they still are the same.
Right.
It's just that, like Keith just said, you're dealing with electrical systems that are far, more in depth than what the electrical system is on a gas propulsion system, internal combustion engine vehicle. So just bear that in mind. And that's why you have to have that separate, you got to segregate the two. You have to. You can't keep them in the same shop, or else you'll get backlogged. It's just the way it works. So interesting times that we live in with the changing of these, direct-to-consumer. And that it ties into what we said on our last podcast, what we observed at SEMA, and how SEMA is also going more business to consumer by allowing more consumers into their show. And the APEX show, which happens simultaneously with the SEMA show, which is also governed by SEMA, the Automotive Aftermarket Product Exchange, is more geared towards the service side of it, the engine builder, the builder, if you will, like that. They're hardcore. They're hard parts, right? But they had a record year this year in attendance. And I think what helped put them over that is they had an additional...
Kevin Hart
did it all, yes.
Yes, okay. Yeah, right. He was there, right?
He was. Okay. He was also at SEMA. His GTO is amazing. I got a picture of it. I think I put that on one of our Instagram posts. But anyway, yeah, I mean, Apex had a large turnout. They sold out their booth spaces this year. They had an EV segment that went over very well. It's a real thing, guys. It's a real. So that segment of the industry is changing so much right now.
And some of them are starting to figure out. And Jay and I had conversations with some of these folks, and some of them we would say things like, "This is an interesting product. We think our fans would like to know about this. Like, is this something we could?" Oh no, sorry, we're B2B only. We only sell to to big businesses that then buy in bulk, and in turn put those on their like an AutoZone, right? And then AutoZone would put them on their shelves and sell them directly.
Right.
But there were some that are starting to wise up to this and go, oh, there is a consumer model here. It's really not that much more expensive to them. They do have to have a distribution warehouse to ship directly, but if they're already making the product and shipping the product, who they sell to and ship to is arguably not a big deal, right? So there were some conversations that Jay and I had that some of these folks were going to show you some things in a few minutes where they said, yeah, absolutely, we're interested in that. We recognize that that's kind of a big thing now, and we want to tap that market. And so there you go.
Yeah, and our brand partnerships have grown exponentially because of that. And we're able to bring our audience some great products with some good deals too. I would like to add on to that conversation, and some of you out there may not appreciate the fact that this is changing the way that it's changing, but you have to understand, as businesses continue to change through changing times, they have to take a look at the demographic that they're selling to, and they are selling to our children. And in the future, the future buyers of America, if you will. And every kid out there, I mean, my children are not any exception. If they can buy it online or download it and watch it or have it delivered, they're good, man. They're completely okay with that.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's really trying to force anybody out of their comfort zone. I do think, though, it's kind of just what the growing masses want, and the businesses have to cater to that, or they will not be around in 5 years.
100% agree with you. On that,
I mean, Ford didn't decide to make the F-150 Lightning until Tesla got notoriety.
Right.
GM didn't decide to make the Lyric and build their Ultium plant until they saw EV numbers, sales numbers, and went, oh, these are people that potentially aren't buying our stuff now. They're buying someone else's. So, but Ford did not just randomly in a vacuum decide to come back with the Bronco. Jay, it's been 20 years since OJ was on television. Can you just see the boardroom meeting? How about a new Bronco, right? No. It was all the overlanding, all the stuff Toyota's doing, the huge trend, the generation before the FJ Cruiser.
And likewise with the subcompact or the compact pickup truck, the Ford Maverick, right?
Yep.
I mean, they're looking at what Hyundai was doing. They came out with the Santa Cruz, and these are unibody pickup trucks. We get it. Why are they useful? Well, they're lighter, they're practical, they're purpose built. I mean, it makes total sense, and so everybody's paying attention to what everybody's doing, and yes,
the auto industry is nothing if not just a response to peer pressure in the industry.
Right. Now the only exception is Toyota not going full on BEV.
Well, I would contend that the Asian manufacturers have always kind of done that. They if you look at like Honda, especially on the motorcycle side, there's been in economic downturn periods, they just won't they'll crank out the same model with some lightly revised features on it for the next 4 years, and you can tell that was a season in their life when they just didn't want to spend the R&D dollars.
True.
Right?
Yeah.
So there is that little bit different of a mindset from the Asian manufacturers versus like a, the traditional, like, North American, well, if GM's doing it, we got to do it.
Right.
If Chrysler's doing it, we got to do it. Chrysler's the worst right now. Like, they are bending to so much peer pressure over it. Like, whoever owns that company now, that it's like their CEO literally said, we don't want to do EVs. We're not doing EVs. 6 months later, we're doing EVs, everybody. We got no choice. Right. Now, 6 months after that, he's like, we can't afford to keep doing these EVs. I mean, it's like, dude, pick one.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. You got to get on board or get off, but let's face it. That is a brand that is just absolutely have been in a shambles since the late 90s. I mean, when Chrysler, was part of Fiat, and then PSA, and then now Stellantis, and it's like you look at that whole umbrella of product being put out. There's a lot of junk, amongst the list of many. In fact, I saw someone post the other day that they would never buy a Chrysler Pacifica. It's the worst product on the face of the planet, and I'm like, yeah, because it's not a Chrysler.
Yeah, right.
I mean, where's your head been, man? So
right.
That brand, Chrysler, you're just getting the name, guys. Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep. That you're just getting names. I'm telling you, they're not what they used to be. So, anyway, we could be on this soapbox all day long talking about those sorts of things. But what we really would like to get onto is Christmas time. Some happy times, right?
Yeah. So this is a segment that we do every year. I don't know why I had an itch. Scratching my head on camera.
Yeah.
It's fun. I think it's kind of one we don't really. We just do it because we like doing it. There's no real like discussion around should we do it.
Right.
So we have a list of things we're going to tell you about. These are all things that would be good gifts for the fan of this program, the automotive enthusiast, the fan of things with wheels, the DIYer. And we're going to list all these out on our website, which is partscounterguru.com. There's a mentioned on the podcast tab. Sorry. Mentioned on the yeah, whatever.
I'll
add a cod pass.
Is it a fish? A pass fish?
Mentioned on the podcast. Bring your cod pass. It'll get you a discount. That would be a good discount code. And so you can go to that website and find all of these things. And some of them do have discount codes, and we will list those there as well. And a lot of those codes work on anything on that particular site.
Take advantage of it, guys. Our discount codes are actually better than some of their sale codes. So.
Yep. Yeah, you're welcome, everybody. Happy holidays. So what are we doing first?
Well, let's talk about, we're a real big fan of these guys.
Yeah.
Max Tie Downs, right?
Okay, yeah.
So that's Max, M-A-C apostrophe S, Tie Downs. They're a company out of Idaho. They're an American-made company. They have an amazing array of tie-down straps.
Now you're doing it.
Yeah, I know. Straps.
For your truck.
For my truck. Right. So, but they have a tremendous amount of options for you guys, and we're talking from anything to tie down, say a UTV, ATV,
power sports
stuff.
They do race car tie downs as well.
Absolutely. In fact, Keith and I have seen them at in use at trade shows, which we're talking like we're looking at how long they have been using them to where the blue had faded, so they've been weathered so much. So, but anyway, they are tried and true.
You can
hardcore.
You can get various colors. If you have a favorite brand color like your KTM orange or your Yamaha blue or whatever, they got you covered. But also the quality of these things, this goes back to what we were talking about in the previous segment, where they have kept their focus on good quality products, little things. And you could go, well, it's just a tie down strap. I'm just tying my motorcycle to the bed of my truck or, my dirt bike or whatever. No. There is a difference for a couple of reasons. Some of them have the little soft loops on them. So if you've got a nicer bike, you don't want to scratch it up. you don't have to use the like rubberized coated hooks. You can actually just use the strap itself to loop through, and that soft loop will take care of the contact areas, if you will. They're well thought out. If you have a utility trailer, if you have an enclosed trailer, they've got a really, really nice modular system for rails. You can put rails on things.
Mm-hmm. That's right. Speaking of rails, they have the truck bed rail kits that are model specific, that are really amazing, and they are designed for specific models, like I just said.
Yep.
And they have just recently released a kit for the Ford Maverick. And see, again, people are paying attention to this stuff. That is a viable vehicle to use. It's practical. So Max Tie Downs decided we're going to create a truck bed rail kit for that as well. So these things, they mount on the inside of the underneath the bed rail, the existing bed rail, and they give you all the hardware you need to mount these things. And they have where you insert the little hooks, and they're like a ½ inch apart, so they become an inch apart, and they're adjustable along the way, however you want it. And so there's these points on the rail where you can move and adjust to your needs. So what you get with most of these kits are a couple of Versati Series 1 tracks, they call them, stud tie-down rings, stainless steel hardware, surface-mounted installation is what you get with this. It just allows you to be a little bit more flexible with the load in your bed instead of having to go to what the factory hooks might be in the corners or whatever.
Yeah.
This just gives you so much more versatility. It's a cleaner look, right? So if you're someone who is utilizing that truck bed a lot for these types of for hauling stuff, this is a kit that you want to get.
And they also work with things like the sled on the roof or the Christmas tree or whatever, right? So this isn't just limited to power sports. I have used them in such a manner.
Yes,
and they did just fine. So yeah, there you go. And I know for a fact that we have a code for these products on our website. That's the 2-inch Moto Pack, is it not?
This is actually the 1-inch by 6 foot kit. And we're going to go ahead and just let the cat out of the bag here with this. This is a pack of 4 ratchet straps, and has the soft loop on it as well.
Just hold that up again. Like, just the little things, like the Velcro to neatly tie that thing back up when you're done. It comes like that. That's how they come.
Not only
so
that,
you're not just throwing a bunch of like wadded up straps in your bag. You have a bag there.
Yeah, each one of their packs, their Moto packs, typically come with a satchel or a pack for these things to go into, so they store nicely.
There you go.
And this is not a shabby bag either, man. I mean, I was like, it's just as impressive as the strap itself. So this is a great product, guys. We are extremely...
What if I want that one?
Well, we're going to give this one away.
Well, how do I get it?
Well, here's what you need to do, guys. Whether you're watching this, whatever, go to our website and message us, contact us, and give us your name and tell it you got to subscribe. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast as well as our YouTube channel. And we need to have the ability to direct message you to let you know who won. So please make sure you do that. You can either do that in the comments section there. I
could tell you guys that Jay and I, err on the side of benefit of the doubt. We really don't. If you just reach out to us somewhere, it counts. We're not necessarily concerned over how, just that you do, right? That's the point.
And
right?
Guys, this is $100 value.
Yeah.
And
they're nice. They're really nice.
They're really nice. I actually hate to give it up, but I'll just go buy another one. But
so there you go.
This is the Parts Counter Guru's Christmas gift to some lucky individual this year, and so have fun with that. Now, did you want to add anything else to Max Tie Downs, because they're fantastic? I love them.
Just go look at the modular system. It's great. Remember, we've got a code for you to use on our website.
Yep.
We'll put all that in there.
All that mentioned on the podcast and the code and everything. Yeah, there you go. So have fun shopping, please. It helps us too. What's next? What do we got?
So this is it's been around a couple of years. We really kind of latched onto it this year, pun intended. It's a product line called Sea Sucker. And
yeah, man,
don't let the name fool you. Although you might get it from the name. These are basically suction cup products, and it's so impressive. So we saw a Jeep at SEMA this year. Sea Sucker was there, and they had taken all of their various modular like attachments from like whip antennas to outdoor like cooking trays to GoPro camera mounts to utensil holders,
roof racks,
bike racks, roof racks, board racks. And I mean, I've got a couple of pictures somewhere of like Jay trying to pull one off. Like you could damage the paneling on a vehicle if you pull hard enough. They are not letting go.
Yeah. So on a single point, the smallest one it can hold up to, and just as a single point. Now, most people group these things in, several of them at once.
Yep.
So a little over 100 pounds on the smallest one, and I think the largest one, just a single point attachment point, can hold up to over 200 pounds.
So yeah, right. So if you use 2 or 3 of them and you're holding something heavy, you're good to go. It'll probably damage the door panel before the thing will fall off.
True.
But go check out their line. We'll put a link to the website. There is something for everyone in there, whether it's action sports, GoPro.
Yeah. And if you're an off-roader or an overlander, this is an ideal product for you, because on the weekend you may just want to throw all these racks on, and then you pull them off when you get home, and then you can ride around town. You don't have to worry about all these racks being in the way, and you trying to get getting clearance going into a parking garage or something like that. Yeah. They're easily removed. And Keith and I asked their product person when we were at SEMA, when we talked to them, how well do they handle the when you're driving, what speeds? And they said that they have tested these things on aircraft, and they hold just fine.
Can you imagine the GoPro footage?
Oh, dude, I would love to have some GoPro footage of that. But there was one thing too, like when you're camping, guys, you're in the back of your mind going, doggone it, man, I wish we had a light pole or something like that or whatever. But they have these neat little things. They're called they're suction cup with what they call the D-rings on them. Mm-hmm. So you can mount them to the top of the rooftop of the truck, right? And then have one mounted on the another truck that might be camping with you, and you can string lights. It's just mounting points.
Yeah, and they're not that expensive. And, the visual that I keep getting when I see these things is, the heist movies where the guy is always like the glass buildings, and he's got to go up to like the 88th floor.
Right.
But, he can't go in and take the elevator. He's got to do it from the outside. And so he's got these like on his knees and his arm and his palms, the whole thunk, and then he releases the one, and then he, thunk, right? And then he's climbing this, he's scaling the side of that's what the concept is the same here. They hold so well that you're, like Jay said, for the small ones, you're over 100 pounds in strength, load bearing strength.
I mean, I pulled on one. It was like I couldn't believe it how well
they're
it
cool.
held. They're easy to mount. They're easy to dismount.
You just push a button.
You just push a button. It's so well thought out. And works on just a smooth surface. And I think even in temperature, they said they hold up nicely in cold temperatures as well. So the only thing that they say is that, you have to pump them up, and then after 24 hours, you just want to check the hold. You just pump it a little more, and it holds another 24 hours.
It's got a little indicator on it that pops out if it's time to repump it. So,
It's a practical way to mount a bike carrier, a tent rack, whatever. It is a practical way to do it on any type vehicle.
Just say you want to put that Mohawk on the roof for your, represent your favorite sports team for the weekend, but you obviously don't want to be seen with that on Tuesday after they lose, right?
What if you have a convertible, right?
Yeah.
And you don't have a roof, but you've got a deck on the back to where you could mount some of these things and mount a rack and carry a bike or whatever, Yeah, it's just So we'll put links over there for you guys for you content creators, man. They've got, like Keith said, they've got iPad mounts, they've got phone mounts, they've got GoPro mounts, they got it all for in cab as well as exterior. So check them out. That's seasucker.com. We're happy to be a brand partner with them as well.
Yep. We'll put all the links again. Just check our website. And so longtime partner of ours, favorite partner of ours, Race Ramps and Black Widow Pro. Jay just did a really good interview with the Race Ramps side. They are partner sister companies, I guess it's fair to say.
I think so.
With Christina Kwan, who is over the Race Ramp side, and we got to see her race car. She's into power sports. She's a world champion boxer. She's a world champion poker player. So for you guys that DIYers in your garage that like to either, you have that third vehicle, your show car, your classic car, they make a lot of great products like flat stoppers. They make some really great ramps that I'm truthfully done with wood. I'm just to the point where I'm just sick of dealing with wood ramps, and these things are so lightweight but yet strong, and they're a great alternative. They've got things to lift your car up if you want to get under them. I mean, and like tools as well, right? Stools and all of that stuff.
Yeah, for Black Widow, on the Black Widow Pro side,
right.
we've got those guys. So Black Widow Pro and Race Ramps are of the same family.
Sister companies,
right? Sister companies, that's right. The really cool thing that it was a brand new product that has just come to market for them. They've always had what they call the car cribs, right? The tire cribs, to where you jack the cars up and you put them on these cribs, and it gets them up above the concrete surface or the surface that they're parked on. And it really does need to be on a flat, smooth surface for these things to be effective and safe. But it gets your vehicle up off the ground, right? Let's say you're storing it for months at a time. Let's say you summer somewhere. Let's say you summer in the Pacific Northwest, but you live in the desert down in the Southwest, and so you're going to park your ride for 3 months while you're up there. You don't want the tires developing flat spots. That's what that's for. They came out with a newer version of that, and it's what they call the crib cruisers, which is basically the same thing, but they sit on top of a steel dolly. They have casters on the bottom of them, so you set the vehicle on all four tires on these individual cribs, and you could physically maneuver the vehicle around inside your garage if you needed to, say, tuck it in a tight corner, but then you need to get something.
A little bit of a too tight passageway getting to that beer fridge. Well, there you go, right?
There you go, yeah. Pretty neat, man. And then you've got their trailer ramps, the trailer extenders.
We saw those used. A lot of the show cars at SEMA were being unloaded with those products.
Absolutely. And Christina, when we were there interviewing her and talking to her about that particular product, she wanted to test my strength, and she had me hold one of those with my pinky. That's how light they are, guys.
Yeah, but you can load a car on a trailer with them. They are strong enough to, it's a good product. You guys, these are all things that, like, you could just go to this website and find one thing as a gift, and it would be, you would knock it out of the park. Like, you could go back every time there's a special occasion and get something else, and you would not go wrong.
Right. Like, for example, on Black Widow Pro, they focus mainly on the 2-wheel segment, 4-wheel segment, like ATVs, UTVs, or whatever. The loading ramps, the racks, all of those things, but they also realize that you've got to work on your bikes or detail a car, so they offer stools, man. And I recently picked one up for myself, and it's really nice. It's a heavy duty casters on it, man. It's adjustable all the way up to 22 inches. Definitely save your back and your knees.
You're going to need to see some video footage of you in Walmart riding that thing.
Yeah, dude, I would totally do that. Hey, if you guys want to see that particular product, I talk about it. I've got a short that I did on YouTube out there, so just go check it out. But we'll also have those links for you guys mentioned on the podcast. And for you listeners, for our audience only, for both of them, we've got exclusive coupon codes for you that's going to get you a hefty percentage off your entire sale, and it works on everything. So make sure you use the links that we give you and our coupon codes, and you'll get that discount. So there you go. Love those guys.
All right, got a couple more here. This next one, like I proclaimed that I'm done with wood as far as ramps go, and that's true. I'm also done with ice. I feel like, look, man, it's 2020, almost 2024. You know, we've got infotainment systems in our cars. We've got cellular networks in our cars. We've got Wi-Fi everywhere. We've got, food delivery to our front door. I'm tired of dealing with ice in a cooler.
Right.
I'm just done with it. And this is not my first powered cooler. I've been a fan of the no ice thing for a while, and it arguably, like, the time and sort of rerouting I would have to deal with every 24 to 48 hours to go get some ice it's done, right? So the powered coolers are a little bit pricier, but they're oh man, it makes your life so much easier. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Plus you're not giving up that space in the fridge or the cooler for ice, right? You can use the whole space. So this summer, and I have the footage. It probably will surface on our channel. I got a cooler. It's an EcoFlow, and I took it across country from my front door to Jay's front door. It was many days, 100 degrees outside. It is 100% powered either by AC power, that's your wall socket, or DC power in your car. And it does the dual zone thing. Like, you can set it to be a freezer on one side and a fridge on the other side and put the little divider in. Or you can take the divider out and set it all to be whatever, one. It's got an ice maker in it. It's kind of nice if you need ice for that cocktail while you're camping or whatever. And, because there's always one more thing, you can buy an optional battery, a lithium battery. And I have tested this with a fully charged battery. That thing will run a day and a half in 100-degree temperatures sitting in the back of your car. Now, I've done some stuff previously where I have an ARB fridge, and then I had to carry like a Goal Zero battery block and do all that. This gets rid of all that. You put the battery in the back, you turn the cooler on. It's got like Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. You can check the battery percentage that's left if you leave it in your hotel room. You could check it while you're going down the road if it's in the back of the car. It's pretty cool. So it's called an EcoFlow Glacier is the name of the cooler. We'll put a link to it. I highly recommend it. I have thoroughly tested it. I've also had dealings with their customer service people. I had an issue. They took care of it. That's always a good sign.
No questions asked. I was impressed. I was so impressed with the customer service, and you were too. I think that's a big selling point for me too.
Well, it's a big item to ship, and they did it. So, it would make a very nice gift for someone. If anybody's looking for a cooler, it's definitely the way to go. And by the way, we powered that thing with solar. Yeah, we did.
We sold it, man, at the show. I mean, and it worked fine.
It has that capability, yeah.
Yeah.
In fact, they sell the solar panels separately that you can fold up and take with you. And there's just no end to how, if you want to be creative, it is the modern solution for anybody that goes on any kind of trip, camping, overlanding, whatever.
Absolutely.
Grocery store. Heck, man, think about it. You go to the grocery store, you don't have to run right home. You can throw it in the back of your cooler and go have a drink.
That's right. I love it, man. So, e-mobility, my friend. Bikey.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So,
Jay's on this bandwagon now. It took a couple years. I kept preaching the benefits, both health benefits, mental benefits, pocketbook benefits, e-mobility, right? Whether that is, you're riding a scooter to the grocery store or the post office, or you're taking your e-bike to the grocery store, right?
Maybe you're delivering auto parts with an e-bike.
Right, there you go. Yeah.
Or
the range on them is
excellent.
Good. Yeah.
Yeah, so we are partnered with Aventon. That's Aventon. We'll leave you guys some links in there. And I have had the luxury of riding on recently and own one now, the Adventure 2, which is a fat tire bike, basically. And they come two ways. You can get them in a fat tire, or you can get them as a touring bike for just a street. But I wanted both because I live in a region where I can get on a logging trail or a gravel road, get off road, and get out there.
This is the Jeep or the Toyota Highlander equivalent of motorcycles, right? You can drive it on the pavement, but it's also built to be taken on the trails.
And they have a style for everybody. They've got step through, step over. They've got cargo bikes. They've got, if you're a hardcore cyclist, even, the touring bikes, man, they've got them.
So the thing that impressed me the most about these bikes, and I've repeatedly, you can hear me saying this in the videos that we've put out. I bought one several years ago, paid more for it than this one that Jay has cost. And the components that they're using on the event line now are very good, to the point where I'm pissed that, I paid 2 to 3 times as much, and they've upped the quality game now. You guys that have waited to get into this, you really are going to benefit from paying less to get really good stuff. It's not junk. They're built well.
They're built well, but not only that, the bike that I got, which, like I said, is the Adventure 2 Step Over, it comes with turn signals, brake lights, headlights, all that stuff. It comes with it.
I don't have any of that. So much of that I had to add later, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Now, there are certain models that they may have that may not come with that, so you're going to want to check that in the description of the bike. But I can tell you guys, right now, you can get into or onto one of their offerings, their bikes, for under $1,000 right now.
Yeah.
And we're offering some really cool incentives. If you purchase a specific bike, you get up to $200 off on accessories. And that could be a water bottle. It could be a water bottle.
Well,
mount.
you're going to need some stuff, right, as you've learned, Jay. There's
Might
always
be a
few
helmet.
things. Yeah, you want to get a
Panniers.
cargo rack, bags, whatever.
Yeah.
Extra light, what have you, right? So absolutely. We've put that thing, we climbed mountains with it and went on all day rides, and there, you can get extra batteries. You probably won't need one, but it's something, if you haven't experienced it, you need to check it out, which brings me to another point. We were just talking earlier about the dealership model versus the sales direct to a consumer. With Event, you can do it either way. They have partners at the cycle shops, so they have physical brick and mortar locations, and you can go look at that on their website. If you want to go in and have a guy put the bike together for you and take it and have him tune it, service, you can do that. Or they send it to your house, and you put it together yourself in an afternoon, and you're done.
Yeah.
Go ride.
It took us what? Well, it took us longer to put it together because
we
were filming the assembly, right?
Right.
But if we were to just the two of us pull it out of the box, put it together, I'm riding in an hour.
Yeah.
And the nice thing about it is it's the battery was almost fully charged when it arrived, so I didn't really have to charge it. So stuff like that, just a simple, well thought out things. And but yeah, just even if you're just browsing for a bike, man, just go click on our link and go take a look at what Adventure's got. I love them. I'm a big fan of them. And I can tell you that there's this misconception about what they are. I've had people say, well, I want more control. I want to be able to pedal my bike. Well, guess what? You can pedal these too, man. It just depends on what level you want to pedal.
Yeah, you can turn
in.
all that off and work as hard as you want.
I mean, you've got four modes on this thing. You've got just standard. You've got cruising. You've got eco. You've got touring. You've got turbo. You name it. And mine has a top speed, I think, of like 28 miles an hour or something like that, or 21 miles an hour. It's class 3, yeah. So just know that there are different levels of that, just depending on what you want. But the bigger thing that I saw the benefit for people is this: let's say you're in your senior years, let's say you're not even in your senior years, and you've had a hip injury or you've had a knee injury, and you have to take it easy. This is a great alternative for you. You don't have to work as hard if you don't want to. I have seen more couples, married couples, that are probably in their mid-70s or late 70s on the same bike that I own, getting out and having a good time on a sunny day. Yeah. And that's what we all need to do. We all need to keep moving. So thank you, Aventon, for being a partner with us, and we really appreciate that. And like I said, the link will be in in the mention of the podcast here. So you got the next one, pal?
Yep, last one. Now we both have these. I gotta find mine because I gotta go help with that Honda tomorrow.
Yeah.
Jay's got his in his hand. This is it's a TopScan Pro. It is an OBD2 code reader tool. It is fantastic. We've seen it in person. We're also fans of the products that the company is putting out. In addition to this, they make like battery tenders, jump starter kits. You can put it down when your arm gets tired, Jay.
Thank you.
but first, a little backstory, everybody. So way back when we first got started on the YouTube side, one of the first videos, may have been the first. If it wasn't the first, it was one of the first 5 that we did. Was Jay did a video on a different company, different brand of code reader. Now, this was 5 years ago. Options were different. Choices were different. It was a pretty good one at the time. Mm-hmm. They've changed. They're really not that good anymore. We kind of feel bad that we don't want to keep recommending them, and the video's still out there. But
sold quite a few of them.
Yes, but we have come across this. We've been looking for a good replacement code reader for over a year. This is it. We finally found one. It's freaking awesome.
Yeah.
This is the Pro. They have a light version, or it's just not the Pro version, I guess.
Right.
The Pro will run you about $100. I think the not Pro version. Sorry guys at Top Down for calling it the not Pro version.
The lightweight.
Yeah. It's less.
I think it's around $60 or something like that. Yeah. It's not.
So depending on how many vehicles you have, how many times a year you need to use it, how many friends you have that call you because they got their check engine lights come on, all that. And the other thing that comes up a lot on these code readers is, do you have to pay for a subscription? And so this one comes with, I think it's a year, and it's pretty nominal after that.
Yep.
And what that does is it goes and it basically allows you to access the engine. I almost said cars. The engine database,
right?
For every vehicle made since OBD2 has been a thing, and pull data on those, right? Mm-hmm. So the first year is on them, which will get you through probably several seasons of check engines. And it's just a really cool gift, and it's a really well-made quality product.
It is, and I can tell you, if you're a young entrepreneur and you're wanting to get out, and this is great for a DIYer for sure. But if you're a young entrepreneur technician wanting to get into the field and you want to start your like a mobile repair business and you want to help people out, this is a good way to start. It is a very low investment cost for you, and you get accurate information, and you're going to discover that if you step up into certain things, you're going to find the level of expertise that's really at your fingertips if you can't work through a problem. So there's a network that's created from this. You get to talk to technicians, your groups. Let's say you work only on Chryslers because those are really about the only vehicles breaking these days, but and Jeeps. So anyway, no, Jeeps are flipping over when the Broncos are sitting upright. Anyway,
but even if it's just you want to check your, you're going to take it into a service garage, but you just, it'd be nice to know, are we talking about a $500 fix or a $5,000 fix, right?
Yeah.
Well, you'll have an idea, right? If it's a knock sensor, okay, could be a lot of things. Could be level, a $500 fix, could be $5,000.
Right.
If it's a seatbelt sensor, that's probably not a $5,000 fix, right? If it's, I mean, you got options, right? If it's an O2 sensor, you're talking way less.
Yeah, and if you've got the tools to change it out yourself, and you know what you're doing, if you're handy about it, and you can get under a car and work on the stuff, and you're doing it safely. Yeah, man, these things are ideal. It can save you some money. The other thing too is like Keith just said, it's that peace of mind going in, knowing what you're up against before you even get there too. Sometimes if you can't fix it, and you got to take it in. So
if you're a DIYer at all, this is a good choice. Yeah. If you don't know how to open the hood on a car, go get one of the other things on the list that we mentioned, and you'll be safe. But any DIYer is going to love this.
Also, we met the owner of the company, Super nice guy. And like Keith said in the beginning of this discussion about these guys, they don't stop there, man. If you are a certified technician, you need to be going to their website.
That's the other thing. They make pro tools, so they don't just do the consumer thing. They are also doing business to business. They make shop tools. They get all the way up into full-level EV charging stations for businesses that want to put 5 chargers in their lot. On the consumer side, something that I'm really interested in, I want to do a video on it, is they have some good battery jump starting tools and some good battery testing tools. Those are for 12-volt car batteries. So we'll see what we can do there. But if you're looking not just maybe for a code reader, go check out their site. There's some good battery tools on there as well that are consumer rated, and you may find something you like.
I love it, man. I love it. So we don't stop there, folks. Because if you just want to shop to your heart's content and none of this that we talked about today, or you just have an appetite for shopping.
So what if I just hate doing it myself, and I hate cars, and I don't like I really don't like anything outside of my house. I'm not going into a garage. Like, I don't even own a garage. Like,
maybe
but for some odd reason, Jay, I still love us and I want to support the show.
Right.
Is there any way I could do that without having to buy gifts for other people or fixing things?
All you have to do is go to our website at partscounterguru.com, and when you get to the homepage, you'll see the Amazon icon right there. Just click on that link and shop. You can shop to your heart's content and buy anything you want, man.
Including, as we previously established in this episode, a Hyundai.
That's correct. Go buy a Hyundai.
Do we get a sale credit on that?
I hope so, man. We need to look at the fine print on that.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be nice?
I mean, I wouldn't say no to that.
Oh, heck no, man.
Hey, anybody looking for a new car?
Right. So
make it the season to remember.
Right. I tell you what.
For us and you.
Absolutely. I am so excited for this time of year. Keith and I always enjoy it. We are very thankful to have the opportunities that we do to have an audience like you guys. And thank you so much for all of your support through these years and continued support. Please do us a favor and tell a friend, tell them to subscribe, like us, all that sort of stuff, and comment all you want, man. We love those comments. So, been a great show today, man.
Yeah. It has, and I echo Jay's gratitude. Thank you guys. Just appreciate you making us a part of your lives, and know that we take that seriously, and we're constantly trying to find ways to make it relevant. So all right. So I promised at the beginning that I was going to have a Christmas wish for you all. If you're listening to this or watching it,
all, Ewans.
Yeah, including those of you with trucks. So, usually this is the point in the show, on the podcast anyway, where I will try to impart some inspirational message. Sometimes it's a quote from a famous person. Sometimes it's just random things that I stumble across. This one's going to be a little bit different, but in that same spirit. As it is the holidays, and as this is the holiday episode, and as gifts are plenty, we, and I'm speaking for Jay here, have a request of you all. This is my wish list, my grown-up Christmas list, if you will, Jay.
Okay, I'm all
it's
ears.
My lifelong dream here. Okay.
Let's hope everybody else is all ears.
Interestingly, you already alluded to this earlier. This is it. Merry Christmas, everybody. Stop driving like assholes. All of you. I'm talking to you.
Yes.
Stop driving like assholes. It's Christmas.
I love it, man.
That's it. And you do it. You know you do it.
You know who you are.
And you know who you are. So, just no more driving like assholes this holiday season. All right? All right.
I'm good with that.
Now that we've got that out of the way, thank you guys. For my pal Jay over there, I'm Keith. We will see you on the next one.